Life Her Podcast.
Hey, you.
Her is me, her is you. Her is us, her is she, her is we. United we stand, baby, that her for keeps. I'm coming and I demand my space, I know it's free. I owe myself the world, they tried to count me out. I've been down some dark roads, they tried to pound me out. From cloudy to sunny, ain't think that I would make it out. I needed positive emotions to fill me out.
God, I'm so honored and blessed. Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, you are welcome. Thank you for being on Life Her Podcast. And what I love, Dr. Fayola, is your bio. It is breathtaking. It's inspiring. And I know for a fact you're going to uplift a lot of women from your background history and even your spirit. I feel through you, through the phone. It's even beautiful. And I really appreciate you. And I pray that everyone listening right now will understand and feel this woman and feel inspired and even reach out to her for even guidance, because she has all the power of the tongue to speak healing in your lives.
Amen.
And I feel that already. So thank you, Doctor, for being on the podcast show.
Well, I'm honored and delighted to be here.
Yes, definitely. So please share with us some of your background. I know you got a long history, but you can sum it up a little bit. Tell us a little something.
I did a little something. I ain't gonna, as the new word I've been catching, I ain't gonna drop the whole tea, but I'll give you a sip of the tea.
Yeah, a little dab of do you.
Just a little taste, just to quench your thirst. But the rest, you're gonna have to get the book, or you're gonna have to sign up for something. I'm just joking. But I'm honored to be with you all today. All those who are listening, just let me tell you, I should not be here. I should not be clothed in my right mind. See, I am a child of two immigrant parents from the country of Haiti. I'm one of three children. I'm the middle child. Yes, us middle children are special, but I think God done gave me an extra dose of specialness for the challenges that I had to go through from as a kid. I had various health conditions, from epilepsy to migraines to skin diseases, to being molested numerous times as a child. So from the time that I was born, the enemy was after me. But I thank God that God called me before the foundation of the earth. And in my journey with being molested numerous times, it's like a Pandora box. It opened a can of worms. And when I say that, meaning to the point I was attacked by the spirit of lesbianism. I never walked into that lifestyle, but it would attack me to make me feel like I was one. I also was very promiscuous. Praise God. I never caught what I should have caught. But, I was very promiscuous. And from that spirit of promiscuity and sexual immoralities, it led me to pornography, watching pornography. I was addicted to it. I could not go to sleep without watching it.
Wow.
Then I fell into masturbation from somebody I was dealing with, because it was a long distance relationship when many years ago, almost about 13 years ago, and fell into that. And I'm telling you, when you open up a crack, the enemy takes the door. And from there, I was being attacked in so many different ways, that to the point that I actually went crazy. I had a mental breakdown, because I was like that Jobina experience. In the Bible, Job talks, Job goes through some challenges. He loses his family, he loses his livestock, he loses his house, everything. Almost lost his life. But the Lord would not allow the devil to take his life, but he made him sick. So I really had all that, but I had no family. I was a single woman, losing my mind. I was sexually harassed in seminary. During that time, there was the earthquake in Haiti, and then I lost my uncle, who's like the Dr. Martin Luther King for the Haitian community. Then I lost my faith. I said, there must not be a God if I'm doing all that I'm supposed to do, and life is hitting me left and right, till I found myself homeless. I lost everything, because my mind was not right, because financially things were falling apart. I was homeless for about 9 months. My family was looking for me. I went to go visit family in New York and never made it back home. And so when I tell you that there are some spiritual warfare attacks, that's why, I tell people, don't play with God. I tell people,
No.
if you have a calling on your life, don't take it lightly, because God will chastising those that he loves. And he brought me back into the fold. He brought me back into church. I left church. I said I would never go to church again. I'm a worshiper. I function in the fivefold ministry. I stopped ministry because I said I must not be serving a good God. Let me go look at Islam. I really was thinking about Islam. I said, let me go look at shamanism and Hinduism. So I already was educated on different world religions because of the classes that I took, because I was always intrigued by ministry and spiritual understandings. And so I said, let me go serve one of these other gods, because this God right here, I'm about to lose my mind. But long story short, after being homeless, making my way back to South Florida from the Northeast area, I had to move back in with my parents and reinvent myself. And fast forwarding, God has blown my mind the last 8 years when he has restored me to the point that I have no need, no lack, that he has called me to be a conduit of wealth, that he has called me as a prophet to the nations, that even in this pandemic alone, he has called me to start 2 TV ministries on a global platform, that I have access, capacity to over 350 million homes around the world. From somebody who should have lost their mind, from somebody who was homeless. That's why I tell people, the way you see me come is how you're going to get it, because I know where I should be, that I'm not. If you see me, I don't look like what I've been through, but I thank God every day. And that's why I share my testimony, because I want to encourage somebody else that, no matter how life hits you, you get back up again.
Yes.
No matter how many lemons are thrown your way, my God, you make some good behind lemonade, and you make it better than Simply, and you make it better than Chick-fil-A, okay?
Yes, definitely. And one thing I could say from the history that you had as far as molestation, porn, masturbation, lesbian, sexual harassment, homeless, from all of those things, what I admire about you out of all that you've been through, because I never knew this.
Mm-hmm.
So
People be
from me,
surprised.
yes, seriously, because looking at the fact that you are a doctor now and you started your career as a licensed practitioner nurse in a high school while getting your high school diploma
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, that ain't nothing but pain into power.
Mm.
You
I
knew
need to
what
tweet that one right
you
there.
were
I need a
getting ready
hashtag
to
that.
do. Seriously, and that's so powerful, because even though you went through all of those obstacles in life and those trials and tribulations, you still found your purpose.
Mm.
And it's a lot of women that are listening today, they need to understand it doesn't matter what you go through in life. It has to be a way that you find your purpose, start loving yourself and value yourself and know who you are to continue to move forward, because you are that walking testimony, doctor. Seriously.
Mm.
You definitely are. And I applaud you for even accomplishing so much in time, for it, just for you even going through that. Girl, I had my mouth open like, what? Like I couldn't believe it, because it's just so much you have done, like
Yeah.
so much giving back you have been doing and everything.
Well, sometimes I have to even remind myself my own testimony.
Yeah, seriously. Well, sometimes when we remind ourselves, it gives us another boost of energy to keep going too.
Yeah, yeah, it
Be
really
like, "Oh,
does.
shoot, I came this far. I need to keep going."
I
What
know
makes
that's
you
right.
what makes you the most proud of yourself? What makes you most proud?
Wow. I would say what makes me the most proud is 2 awards that I've received in the last year. The first one is getting an honorary doctoral degree in ministry, because I did attend ministry to be trained in ministry. for 2.5 years, and that's when I was sexually harassed. So I did not get to finish my degree. So to have an institution, to see it as worthy, not based on my academics, not based on my papers, not based on my grades, not based on my quizzes, my thesis, my dissertation, but based on my life, based on me being faithful to the assignment that God has given me as an apostle, as a fivefold ministry leader, walking in the prophetic and the apostolic. So I'm truly always going to be grateful to Dr. Blanche Davis, who's the president of Trinity School of Theology, and as well as my mentors who nominated me, Dr. Marie Etienne and Dr. Constance Miller. And not only that, not only did I get an honorary doctoral degree, they also ordained me as a pastor.
Wow. Yeah, I
And these are
saw
not people
that.
that I was trained under. These are individuals that saw my work from afar.
Wow.
So that speaks a lot. And some people are like, well, you
Yeah.
got an honorary doctor. I said sometimes an honorary doctor it holds more weight than an actual doctor. And I'm not taking credit away from those who were trained and went through school. I eventually will go and get my doctorate in nursing or leadership or business. But for someone to look at your life and say you equivalent to that capacity, that's a terminal degree. That's not an easy plight. And the second thing I would say is I didn't get to go to the award ceremony, but they're going to push it back for April due to the fact that COVID-19.
Right.
By the International Healthcare, International Forum of Health Advancement in Healthcare. I am one of top 100 healthcare leaders around the world.
Wow.
At 38. Who knew? You don't know who's watching you. That's why you always got to walk in the
Girl,
spirit of excellence. That's why you
listen.
always got to do what you're going to do, and you do it well. If you say you're going to do it well. If you're not going to do it, don't do it at all.
Do it all at all. I say that all the time. My mom used to tell me that. Yeah,
I
she'd
thought
be,
it was
she'd
I
be
thought
like,
it
you
was
better
a
shut
scam.
it down. That's her first thing. You better shut it down.
I thought it was a scam when I got the email. I'm like, who? Nobody knows little Fayola's name. A little Haitian American girl from Miami.
Wow.
But your gifts make room for you. And
Oh,
that's why
yeah.
I know that God called me into the healthcare industry, because I actually tried to leave to go to law school. I said, I really, nursing used to be it used to be a service, but it became a business. And I've been in it over 20 years, and I've seen the evolution, not for good. And so I said, let me go to law, because I know in our communities, we need more advocates for the legal system. We need to
Yes.
educate people about the legal process. But as many times as I took that LSAT, as many times as I applied, I didn't get into the schools that I wanted, even though schools did write me to tell me that they would give me scholarships and et cetera, but not to the schools that I want. God said, you could try 10 years, I think was about. He said, you could try as long as you want. That's not where I called you. So when I took my happy little tail back to nursing, that's when I began to flourish. That I'm currently right now doing my nurse practitioner. I'm in management at a long-term care facility. I serve various nursing professional organizations. Recently got invited to 2 honor societies at my institution. And I was invited to the International Honorary Society for Nurses.
Wow, what a
And I received another
blessing.
award from another nursing organization. Yeah. So it's obedience.
Girl, Fayola, you better tear it up, dear. Girl, I'm telling you.
Obedience is
Yes,
better than
seriously,
sacrifice.
but what the people don't know, even though you are accomplishing all of this, it's just the fact of you giving back. And I see that
Mhm.
you have been dedicating yourself to many numerous natural disasters of
Mhm.
hurricanes and even the coronavirus. Could you
Mhm.
tell me a little bit about your experience, even being hand in hand, witnessing it with your own eyes of how these disasters are?
Well, my first encounter with disaster relief was in 2010. The earthquake that took place in January 10, 2010. Yeah, it was 2010 in Haiti. I was actually in seminary, and the funny thing is, I was fasting, and that was my last day of my fast. the day the earthquake happened, or the day before the earthquake happened. And I said, okay, my fast is over, God. And he said, no, you can't be released from this fast. So I'm moaning and complaining because sister hungry. I said, God, I did my assignment. But little did I know that in the spirit, I was interceding for a nation that I was not born in, but I'm connected to, because I was born in Miami. And so that next day, I was in class. God said, open your computer. So while the professor is giving the lecture, I open my computer and I see that Haiti had a natural disaster. They had the biggest earthquake they've ever seen in the history of that country. And my heart was broken because 6 months prior, I was in Haiti burying my uncle. And we went to the White House because the president had called our family to give condolence. So we ate with the president of Haiti at that time. I just walked through the White House. We were walking through all these big places in the country because they knew my family and they were giving condolences and respect to my uncle who had passed away. And so to see that same place that I had placed my foot in, was broken in half, literally. I remember it was on Yahoo, because I had a Yahoo account at that time. It was on Yahoo.com's front page, and I saw the White House in Haiti torn in half.
Wow.
And my heart, I felt like a woman who had given birth and lost her baby. And I was like, God, why is this connection so strong? First of all, I don't know what it's like to be a mother, but that's the feeling that I felt. And so, of course, feeling all these emotions, I was like, okay, what do I do? Do I go there? So I got my church involved. At the time I was living in North Carolina. So I asked my pastor, I said, hey, this is what's going on. And, it's all about being at the right place at the right time.
Yes.
Because I was a board member of the nonprofit foundation connected to the church, that I had a say so. That's where you got to be careful where you place your feet, and where you got to be careful how you conduct yourself. That I was the youngest board member of this organization, that they listened to me when I said we have to help the country of Haiti. And so over 5 years, they donated $50,000 and they told me to go and do an assessment. So I didn't tell my family I was going, because if I would have told them, they probably told me not to go, because it was like maybe a week right after the earthquake, few days to a week after the earthquake. Okay. So I called my cousin, who's a doctor, and I have cousins who are in politics or in government. So I called them and let them know so they could, position me properly and let me, get movement around and stuff. So I went to Haiti. It took me 5 days. I lived in North Carolina. I had to drive to I lived in Charlotte. I had to drive to Atlanta. From Atlanta, I had to take a plane to Puerto Rico. From Puerto Rico, I had to take a plane to Dominican Republic. From Dominican Republic, I had to take a 12-hour bus ride into Haiti.
Wow.
And so to walk around and kind of do the assessment, coming back and letting the church know. So over the 5 years, they gave the $50,000. So that was my first experience, but that was my worst experience, because there were so many spiritual encounters that I had that I did not realize. Because after coming back, I was getting beaten by the devil on every side.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you, did you experience that? Because, after you being there and witnessing so much and helping so many people, you end up becoming under attack.
Correct.
Once it's
and
over.
I didn't know that, because I was not educated in spiritual warfare. I didn't know about, I knew of the devil, but, I didn't know about witchcraft. I was naive to those things. If you're not born in the islands, you really don't connect with them unless your family does it, or if you know people who do it. But I grew up in a Christian home. I'm a Christian family. Both sides are very religious. They're involved in the church as ministers, pastors, nuns, priests. So I wasn't exposed to those things. So fast forwarding, after 2010, I went to a mission trip with it was a ministry that does ministry on a cruise. So we went to Bahamas. We did we didn't do disaster relief, but it was more like a humanitarian. So I started to enjoy giving back again in that respect. And so then after that, I went to we went to Bahamas last year. No, actually, I did a mission trip with Mandoto Foundation. Every year they go to mostly the southern part of Haiti to give back. So I went in 2017, and then 2019 is when the hurricane happened in Bahamas, and it was so devastating. And I didn't know why God connected me. Like literally, I sacrificed a lot, even my education that semester. because
Wow.
God said, this is your assignment. And I was like, I don't have family in the Bahamas. I mean, I've been to visit and have fun, but I don't have any strong or family connections there, but God gave me that assignment. So I worked with Haitian American Nurses Association of Florida, Haitian American Professional Coalition, and many other organizations. It was a good 18 plus organizations that worked to do disaster relief. So we went to Bahamas, we did medical mission, we gave food, we gave medicines, we gave different things that they needed because we were working with some people that were there. And our president of HANA, the Haitian American Nurses Association of Florida, she's from the Bahamas, so she had connections there. And so that was an experience. I realized that, God, I know this is part of my assignment to do disaster relief. That's why I
Right.
started a construction company in 2017 to assist with disaster relief and natural disasters. I also am a contractor for Florida Power and Light. So around hurricane season, they will contract me to take care of their contractors. So I would see the backside of disaster relief and what the workers have to go through when they are doing cleanup and other different relief efforts. And then this year for COVID-19, as a healthcare professional in management, long-term care facility, overseeing a facility that has over 200. At the time, we had 290. Now we're about 240, but our capacity is about 270. Dealing with our COVID unit, overseeing that, sometimes actually having to work directly with those patients when we had short staff. And then I actually am the chair of a COVID-19 task force for Haitian Alliance Nurses Association International. So COVID is a real thing. I tell
Yeah.
people, don't take it lightly, even though I had a patient tell me, well, I don't need to wear a mask because number 45, Mr. President, doesn't wear a mask. And I said, well, I will be staying far from you. And if you need to speak with me, you're going to need to wear your mask.
Right. Seriously.
So and people ask me, how do they get involved when it comes to natural disasters, or why do I serve? It's something that you have to be called to, because you have to be mentally
Oh yeah.
strong. You have to be spiritually strong. And that's one of the reasons why I actually went back to get my nurse practitioner degree, is because when I go to these mission trips, I don't want to just be a bachelor prepared registered nurse. I actually want to make a difference, and working alongside the physicians to be able to be more of a service in treating and diagnosing and managing diseases as opposed to just doing nursing duties, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Man. So on a personal level, on your hard days, because I know some days you have to do a lot of self-care for you. On
Mhm.
your hard days, what motivates you to get up and start your day?
Truth be told, there's days I don't want to get out of bed.
Yeah, I figured that. So what pushes you to get up out of it?
Glory. Well, I'm a worshiper. I love music. So that's definitely one of the ways. And when I sleep too long, I start having nightmares. So I know that God told me to get my behind up out of bed. But I tell people this when I work with my clients as a coaching consultant. I said, what would you do if, when they say they don't know their purpose? I said, what would you do every day that puts a smile in your face, that you would do it even though you don't get paid for it? For me, that's helping people to live out their purpose. That for me, that's making a difference in the world. I recently said, girl, you smile too much. Why are you always, I'm having a conversation with myself like 2 days ago. I'm like, why are you
Man.
always bubbly? Why are you always cheerful? I mean, even as a kid, I would talk to the walls. My parents would tell me when I was a child, I would talk to strangers and just have a conversation. I am just that people person. And especially in times like this, there are people that are really suffering out there, whether
Yes.
it's COVID-19, whether it's because they're furloughed, they lost their job, they lost a loved one, think life is not going right, children acting up, family acting up, their health, their finances, whatever the issue is. And if I could be a light of hope, that was actually one of my first nonprofits when I lived in North Carolina, Light of Hope Foundation. I said, if I could be a light of hope for somebody, because I should have been dead, I should have lost my mind. And there was a spirit of God that was with me. And as a child of God, as an ambassador of God, that's my assignment. I
Mm.
have to go help the world, not necessarily to be healed because, that's a big assignment, but I have to do my part. And if that's me just getting up out of bed and smiling at somebody, if that's me just getting up out of bed and saying good morning to somebody, then I've done my job. And that's really what wakes me up every day, to know that I'm on an assignment and I cannot
Yes.
allow the enemy to win. Just like there's a saying or a post that they always put up, the devil, when you, something about when you wake up in the morning and you put your feet on the ground, you shake the enemy's camp. I'm paraphrasing, that's not exactly what it says, but something along those lines. I want the enemy to know I'm not messing with him. He done
Mm-hmm.
made me be a dog chasing my tail for many years. And now that I know that I don't need to chase my tail, and I know which direction and the identity and the power that I have, I will not give him the opportunity to win. He can't win anyways. He's already defeated. But I will not allow him to play with somebody else.
Yeah, I understand that. Now, the things that you've been through in life early on before you have become so successful, how can women find their true purpose and strength on a daily basis? What advice do you have for women that are having that hard time to overcome their hardships?
First, before you get to the process, it's a process before, and I went through this. And anything that I shared, I'm always my first student. I'm always my first client, my first patient. And for me, my process was first forgiving myself. When I was molested numerous times, I asked myself, did I cause it? I felt
Wow.
guilty. And I had to realize that it was a spirit. I had to realize that it was an attack of the enemy.
May I
When I
ask, how old were you?
let's see. So the first time it happened, I must have been 7,
Wow.
give or take. First time it happened must have been 7, and then up until adulthood, like young 20s. And it was
Wow.
crazy. Like, and it wasn't just men. These weren't just, some of them were people that friends of the family. Like one of the first, no, it wasn't the first, but yeah, I guess it was like the second person that was like very traumatic experience. He lived with us. He was someone who came from Haiti. He lived with because in the Caribbean culture, when someone comes from their home country, they stay with somebody until they can get on their feet. So he
Right.
stayed with us. He molested me. He molested my sister, and I think he almost tried my mom. So he was very, blunt and very. I mean, it was just an evil spirit that you would attack the children and even the wife of the person that is letting you stay in their home. Like that,
Wow.
I think for me, that was the icing on the cake. That even when I saw him years after, he would come visit and stuff, I would never open the door, even as an adult, even as an older teenager. I was like, my parents are not home. Or when I saw him, like I would peek through the window and I saw it was him, I didn't even answer. I didn't even reply because I just felt so disgusted. And so that would be about the same time. I think the last time before being harassed in seminary, I was in my early 20s, and it was men, women, and children, because I felt so paralyzed when someone would violate me that way. I couldn't open my mouth because I was just like, I'm just traumatized. Like, why is this happening over and over? So I thought it was me. So I used to wear my brother's clothes. I used to dress up as a boy because I'm like, well, maybe because I was a thick girl, and had the boobs at a young age and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would hide my femininity to see if that would protect me from being molested and being attacked sexually.
Wow. That's just
Hmm.
that's deep.
Yeah,
Just for you to even go through it more than once. It's
yeah,
just so many times repeatedly over and over by numerous of different ages
mhm.
and everything. And it just shows your strength and your courage to even talk about it now. But you're speaking life into others when you speak it though.
Yeah,
You
and I had
know?
to realize that because the word
Yeah.
of God says you overcome by your testimony. And I used to, like I was sharing with you earlier, I was very ashamed of my testimony. Like, how could someone who's well educated, I didn't even know I was poor until I went to college, because my family was the first for the computer. We were the ones that always had food in our house. We never went without anything, we never went without any need or any lack. And so it was not until I went to the University of Florida, I was like, wait a minute, I'm not rich. I thought I was. But we were part of the working class, middle class family. But I always tell, especially women, you have to heal from inside out. You have to forgive yourself, whatever it
Yes.
is. And even I had to come to a place to forgive all those who had violated me, even if they didn't ask for an apology, they didn't give an apology.
And they didn't get to say it to your face or
Yeah.
anything. And that's a lot of things that stop us from moving
Hmm.
forward in life because we're holding on to things that someone did to us.
Hmm.
And we're the only ones holding on to it when they done moved on with their lives.
Yeah. And
And they're
they're laying comfortably in bed, and you tossing and turning, replaying that situation in your head, or just victimizing yourself more than the predator did.
yes. And if we speak more about it and we let it be free and not feel
Hmm.
so ashamed and
Hmm.
embarrassed, or even though someone may not have believed you when you told them what happened, you still have your rights to speak about it because it could help the next woman and it could help you heal by you continuing to speak on it and understand that it wasn't your fault. That person just had issues.
Correct. Yeah. And so once you heal, that is the first step. Forgiving yourself, forgiving those who did you wrong, whether they give an apology or not, healing from it. And then after you are healed, because you have to be healthy and whole, because if you continue to walk with your scar, you will always have your scars, but if you continue to walk with the baggage that your experiences have given you, you can never live out your full potential. It's like a dark cloud.
Yes.
When it's filled with rain, it becomes dark because the precipitation, it changes, it metamorphs into something else. That's why there's a scientific research that was done. When you have two glasses of water, one that you would speak positive into, and another one you would speak negative into, the one that was negative, it turned black because the vibration would change the molecules of the water, of the H2O, of those chemicals. The molecules in the water would change, and so it would turn dark, like a black color. But the one that had positive, you were speaking positive over it, that vibration allowed the water to not change its consistency. There was
Hmm.
no change in the chemical structures of those molecules. And so we have to understand it's the same thing, that if you continue to walk with your baggage with a chip on your shoulder, you're never letting your scar heal. So it's always going to be an open wound. But once you can heal because wounds heal from the inside out, not from the outside in. So you have to do the internal work. For me, I had to go to sabbatical. Some people may have to do counseling. Some people may have to actually speak to a therapist or psychologist or psychotherapist or a psychiatrist. For me, mine was going I always say, the joke is, I paid $60,000 in seminary to sit on Jesus' couch, because that's where God did his work for me. But everybody has a different way of their process. And so once I got past, healing and realizing my story and the challenges that I had, then I started to see where I can identify the common threads in my life to understand what
Mm.
is my purpose. Yes, I'm a
Yes.
nurse. I was told that I'd be a nurse since I was a child, but what is my actual purpose besides my profession? And that's
That's
where I
sweet.
tapped into being a coach, a consultant, a speaker, an author. God has blessed me that I've won international awards on all those levels. God has blessed me that I've written 8 books. I'm working on my 9th and my 10th book. And it once you find your purpose, it's like a faucet. Once that purpose, that you turn the purpose on, man, it's like you're
Oh
unstoppable.
yeah.
You are
So
unstoppable.
unstoppable. And then you'll become like addicted to it
Oh,
because it's like that feeling you get, you like, oh my God,
yep.
am I feeling like this?
Mhm.
And then you'll
Even
be
on
ready
your
to have
bad
it
days.
again.
Yes, even on your worst days, you be like, look, these kids get on my nerves. These ministry people get on my nerves. My patients get on my nerves. My stuff. I'm for real. There's days I in my mind, I'm like, I'm quitting my job. I said, today is the day I'm giving these people my paper. I mean, I go into the job sometimes just hyping my own self up so I could be upset. And I come in, a staff member would tell me a joke, a patient would say something funny to me, and I forgot why I was upset. I forgot how bad my day was, but I know I'm living on purpose, because when you live on purpose, nothing can stop you. You're unstoppable. When you find out what those common denominators are, once I started to realize, like, hey, even in my worst days, I had strangers come up to me and tell me the worst stories. I'm like, who are you? Why are you telling me? And this
Right.
is, I'm like, really? I'm like, I got my own issues. At the time when this first started happening and I started to make the connection, I had just moved back to my parents' house. I didn't have a penny to my name. If I needed to put gas in my car, if I needed to make sure my account doesn't go negative, I had to ask my parents for quarters, nickels, and dimes. My parents were giving me rolls of coins.
Wow.
At 30, after I lost everything, I had to come back home. And I remember one day my dad told me, why don't you just go to Walmart and get a job? I was offended. I was like,
Because that
wait.
wasn't what you wanted.
I mean, because they were getting, because literally every morning, it was like, I was like a kid all over again. Every morning when I woke up, I would get dressed. I didn't know where I was going, what I was going to do. And I would ask my parents for money at 30. And I
Wow.
guess they were getting tired of me knocking on their door, asking for money. That's the response he gave me one day. And I was offended, but I knew I was on an assignment. I knew there was
Mm-hmm.
purpose, because I said, God cannot make me ashamed this way. That out of all my parents' 3 children, that I am the one to make them ashamed. That I am the one that has to come back and ask my parents for quarters, nickels, and dimes with 2, 3 degrees from the greatest institutions in the world. Something's not right. But once I started to tap into my purpose, my God, I didn't care if my dad told me that 30 times. I said, can I have my quarters, nickels, and dimes, please? Because I knew God was doing something on the inside of me. I knew he was shifting me. He was changing my focus, my perspective. He had to rebuild me for what he really wanted me to do and be, because I was tainted.
Mm-hmm.
I was, because John Locke, who was a theorist, was he a theorist? Well, anyways, John Locke had a theory that we are white blankets when we born into the world, and it's our experiences and the things that we come in contact with that writes out our tapestry, that writes our story. It's just like I'm looking at this Word doc, and it's a blank paper, but once I start typing, that's when I see the letters come up. And it's just like your life is typing on your white paper, the white paper that is your life. And that's how you have your behaviors, your thoughts, and all these different things that make you the person, the character, the personality. But God said, I had to cleanse you so you can know your
Yes.
true self.
That
Take
is
out the
so true.
trash.
That is so true. Oh, goodness. You definitely speak in life into
And
many
so once
women.
you know, because there's because some of us, unfortunately, when you're not living on purpose, you're not living out your assignment, you are walking dead.
Yeah, it's like you a whole zombie.
You done took the words out of my mouth.
A whole
Literally,
zombie.
that
Just
was the
trying
next.
to, yeah, and trying to figure out who you are. And you so mad at everybody else
Mm,
off your own life when you
mm,
need to
mm,
be
mm.
mad at yourself and figure out what your purpose is so you can make things happen.
Dr. Miles Monroe said, before I leave this earth, I'm going to empty out myself. And I tell you, that day that great man died, it was a rainy day in South Florida. And I woke up in the middle of the night, my spirit was crying. And I said, why is my spirit grieved? Why am I crying in the spirit? And God said, just pray. So I started praying. I prayed until I fell asleep. Then I woke up that next morning, or later that morning, and I heard the news. And God said, his mantle has been released. I'm getting goosebumps as I'm sharing this. He said he died because his purpose was completed. He
Wow.
emptied out himself. Him, his wife, and I think it was like a few other people from his ministry or his friends or something that died in that fatal plane crash. And he said his assignment was completed. And he said, and I was like, well, why? I mean, I was not not like I was a fanatic of Dr. Miles Monroe. He's a great man. I love his books and his messages and his thought process. But I was not like close to him as far as following him every day. I would listen to him once in a while. And God said his assignment, his mantle was released on the earth, and it was scattered That is just like Elijah when he was taken up by the fire chariot. Yes, by
Yeah.
the fiery chariot. It's the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
because he had to scatter his mantle on the earth.
Mm.
That's why he died the way he did. And I said, my God. And I said, that has been my philosophy now. I want to leave this earth empty. People say I do too much. People say I'm all over the place, but I have to get comfortable with myself. And that's why I tell women, know who you are. Know what your gifting and talents are. When you know your purpose, you don't care what they say to you.
No, you
You just
don't.
keep going. You keep moving. You keep thriving. So once you heal from the inside out, once you start looking at the common denominators, because like I said, people kept telling me their stories and then they asked me what to do next. And I was like, I'm dealing with my own issues. But I realized there was something that they saw in me to come and tell me things that they never shared with anyone else, things that they were going to take to their grave. But they saw something in the inside of me to share with me, and then they would ask me my opinion, my advice, or give them suggestions, whatever. Then that's when I realized, not just as a counselor, because I was going to seminary for pastoral counseling, but as a coach and a consultant for the secular world, to understand that is my connection. That's why I had to go through what I went through. Because I can't help you overcome homelessness if I've never been there. I can't help you overcome sexual abuse if I've never been there. I can't help you overcome bankruptcy or financial issues if I've never been there. So I had to go through all these experiences, not for myself. And once you realize all that you've been through was never about you,
No,
it was
it's
about
for
other
you to help
people.
the next person.
Correct. Then you move past the pity party. Because I would tell you, the day God literally called me out of darkness, I was sitting in my parents' house and it was dark. No one was home. Because when I moved back to my parents' house, I had the biggest pity party. You know, there was times they would look at me, they was like, did you take a bath? Did you brush your hair? I mean, I was a hot mess. And they knew something was wrong, because I'm not flashy, but I like to keep myself very nice. And they knew I was not myself. And I tell you, this one day, nobody was home. I heard someone call my name, and I'm walking around the house. It was pitch dark. And I said, there's no one here. Maybe I'm hearing things. Now I'm already depressed. I said, maybe I'm psychotic now. But then I heard the voice a second time, and everything in me shook, that I knew it was God calling me out of darkness.
Wow.
And that's when I realized this was not to break me. This was to build me. And
Build
once
you
I
up.
started to have that mindset, it was a done deal. It was a
But
wrap. The enemy couldn't have no more
sometimes people don't realize when they in darkness, and if they end up listening to the signs of God, he'll bring you out of it. And he definitely will. It's like that connection that you will have with him and was within you already. It's just you have to tap into it.
And when I tell you, women who are listening, I don't care what you've been through. I don't care what you have done. Your story is not over.
Oh no.
This too shall pass, and it
Yes.
shall work for your good. That's what the word of God says. He said all things, not some things, not the good things, not the bad things, not a few things. It says all things, ALL, shall work for the good of those that love the Lord according to his riches and glory in heaven. And so I want to encourage you, if God can use a little girl like me to do his work, imagine what he can do for you if you go through those steps: healing, finding your purpose. And once you find that purpose, don't listen to anybody to stop. There was times that I had to ignore my parents because they
Yeah.
didn't understand the
They don't
assignment that God has
understand.
given me.
Yeah. A lot of people won't understand. My mom used to do the same thing of trying to tell me, even though on a lot of cases she was right. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just the fact of me living that purpose and witnessing and being a testimony and
Mm-hmm.
helping someone else with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just that moment of it. What is one thing you wish more people knew about women's superpowers?
It's transformative. And I say that because in my 20s, it was a different decade. But in my 30s, you can't tell me nothing, okay? I was like, look, I thought I was a bag of chips in my 20s. I'm a bag of chips times 2 with icing on the top and a bling bling on my finger. Okay,
You
like,
better say it.
and it's just the same thing with the seasons of life. Women's
Mm-hmm.
superpower. Do you know? Ooh, I don't want to get deep here, but women, do you know what you carry? You carry the seed. The man
Mm-hmm.
may give you the seed, but you carry the seed. And I'm not just talking about birthing children physically, but whatever God has placed on the inside, you carry the seed. That's why Eve is when you turn it into the Greek, I believe it's Greek, it means life.
Mm-hmm.
You bring life into the world. You bring life to wherever you go. I don't care if you used to be a stripper. I don't care if you used to be a drug dealer. I don't care if you were incarcerated. I don't care if you murdered somebody, because all sin is the same. So we just gonna put that out there right now. So you could tell the enemy he could stop lying to you, because if God can do it for Paul, who was Saul and who murdered people, if he could do it for David, who became king, who was an idolater, who was a murderer, who done all these different things, God can use you no matter what mess you've been in, because he's going to take your mess and make it a message. He's going to turn your ashes into beauty. And so I
Beauty.
speak to you, woman. I speak life into you. I call you from the dark place that you have been in, whether that's depression, whether that's self-doubt, whether that's having your pity party, whether that's feeling inferior, whether that's waiting for validation, whether that's waiting for love for a man or a woman. I speak to you and I call you out of that dark place. And I tell you to come into this light that God has for you. Come into the good things that God has ready prepared for you. Because for such a time as this, every woman under the sound of my voice, you have an assignment from God, and it shall manifest and come to pass. God is not a man that he should lie, and his word shall not come back void. And as I say that, he said, what I called you even before the foundation of the earth, what I said you would be even before you came out of your mother's womb, your life choices cannot deter God's plan for your life.
Mm-mm.
It may be a
Girl.
detour, but it's just like, especially here in South Florida, every time you turn around, they doing construction. God is going to reconstruct you. God is going to put you on a construction plan that when he builds you, it's going to be for his glory. He's going to take your ashes. He's going to take the things that you've been through, and he's going to, just like Jesus spit into the mud to make that blind person see, God is going to take the mud, which is the mess of your life, the poor decisions that you made, the experiences that you had in life. He's going to spit in it. He's going to breathe life into it. He's going to breathe his Rokadesh, the Holy Spirit, into it, and it's going to let you see who you really are.
Mm-hmm. Girl, listen, you done spoke life into me too.
Come on now.
Because
Because
that's what it's
this is
all about.
I'm not a feminist, but I tell you, this is the woman's year. This is the
Oh,
woman's
yeah.
season. Whether you
I
voted
agree.
for, our vice president elect or not, I believe there's a prophetic. God is doing something, because women have been put in a back burner for far too long. God said there's so much greatness.
We
There's a
always
woman in her
behind
life.
the
God has
scenes.
greatness,
Mm-hmm.
and you are the one holding yourself back. It's not anybody else.
Mm-mm. You
Because there's a
better stop
point.
blaming others.
Come on. There's a point you can't blame my parents are from a third world country. When they came into the United States, they didn't know about American ways and the culture. So I lived in a predominantly white neighborhood, and I would see these kids, Danielle and Sarah, they be hugging and kissing all over their parents. They be saying, I love you. It was the age of 10 that I mustered up enough faith to tell my mom I loved her for the first time. Because in the Caribbean culture, especially the Haitian culture, they're not very affectionate for the most part. There are some, they may be, but my parents weren't affectionate. They believed, they gave you a roof over your head. They make sure you get a good education. They make sure you had clothes on your back. You never needed anything. They saw that as love, but they didn't realize you have to be affectionate. This is the American way of life. And once I realized that I had to change my perspective, I could have fault my parents from where they came from, what they know, because that's all they knew. That's all they've been exposed to. But now it's my assignment now, as my eyes have been opened, as I have a deeper understanding of cultural things, I have a deeper understanding of the things of God, that I now have the consciousness that it's now my responsibility to know right from wrong, not my parents anymore.
Mm-mm-mm.
So,
Well,
your mama issues, your daddy issues. I don't care if you're 20. I don't care if you're 30, you're 40, 50. I don't care if you're in your 70s and you still got parent issues. It's time to throw that up. Throw that out the window.
yeah, you just can't keep dragging it along. It's like making an excuse to
Mm-hmm.
find pity.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
And some people do it
after
unconsciously.
after so long, it can't work for you. It won't work for you. Because if God has moved forward for you off
Mhm.
the things that you said, you should be able to move forward off things that someone else done to you too.
That's why the Lord's Prayer says, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will
Kingdom
be done on
come
earth
to
as it is in
die.
heaven. Give us this day
Mhm.
our daily bread and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Your prayers will be hindered when you don't forgive. Forgiveness is one of the number one reasons why people's prayers are not answered. Forgiveness is the number one reason why people's hearts are hardened. Forgiveness is number one reason why people are not living authentically as believers of God.
Yes, and you gotta forgive within. Once you say, God, I forgive and all this and that, you can't backtrack
Mm-mm.
and regroup the whole forgiveness
We
and
be good
start
for that.
and talk about that person again and just doing it all over again. And you just backtrack. Y'all, you got to start all over from square one. So
Come on
go ahead, march on back to one and, until you move on up again.
Come on.
Because you
Because
so
your
close.
blessings.
Yes, you be so close to that blessing. And then your tongue and your
Mm.
actions will get you in trouble.
That's why you
And
got to
you
be
got
careful what you say, because your tongue has the power to speak life and death.
mm-hmm. It do,
And
and it
be
may not.
careful who you have in your circle.
Oh
In
yeah,
this season,
definitely.
God is showing me you got to be strategic, because
Mm-hmm.
some people say they love you. They don't really love you. Some
No,
people
they
who
just
say they
love
for
what you
you,
could do for them.
come on now.
They love
Come
what you
on.
can do for them. And some people just like to witness your blessings because they're preying on your downfall.
Mm,
But you don't know certain blessings are being stopped because they are still in your life. And
hmm
the only way you're going to receive those blessings if you remove them and keep them away.
Let me tell you, there was a point that I even had to keep my parents out of my business.
Girl, oof,
And I still
oof.
love them. I had to love them from a distance in certain seasons of my life. Now we good. But there was a season I had to literally love my parents, and it hurt me. But just like Jesus, he said, those who do my father's business are my mother and father. When Jesus'
Yeah.
mom was looking for him, and he was doing the Lord's work by sharing the message.
You
And
know
he's
what's so
looking like, who's
funny?
my mama and daddy? I don't know
Yeah,
who you're
but
talking
sometimes our parents they have lived in fear so much.
about.
They place their fears upon us
Yep.
and don't want us to do certain things because that's not what they used to or the things they've been through. They want us to avoid that part.
hmm
So and sometimes their protection can be distracting too.
Yeah.
And let you learn along the way so that you could figure things out. But we gonna listen to them because sometimes they do be right. But at the same time, let me bump my head a little bit.
Yeah. You have to. And it's not that they don't mean well. Sometimes God, we have to realize sometimes God will not. Well, how should I say this? Sometimes people won't understand what you're doing because God did not reveal it to them.
Yep, and it's not their journey.
So you just have to be wise in this season. You're gonna have to let some friends go. You might have to let some family members go. You might have to let your boo thing go. If your boo thing is not helping you to be better, and they're not speaking into your life, let me tell you. Oh, I'm getting real personal right here. I had an ex who said, you should think about doing certain things like going to nursing school, because I was at the time trying to go to law school. He was like, you should there was some other stuff that he was telling me that I should do, and I was like, no, no. I was that woman that knew what I wanted to do and whatever, and I was like, no, 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 no. I am not. I do beauty pageants, so I've never represented Haiti. He's like, yeah, one of your beauty pageants, you should have a title representing Haiti. I was like, well, if it happens, it happens, but it's not something I'm chasing for. And then it was something else he said that I should do. And I was just like, having my little sassy self. What did I end up doing? I went to nurse practitioner school, which I'm in right now. I am Miss Haiti Excellence 2020. And I'm trying to think what the other thing he has said. When we were dating, we had these conversations. And we have to realize the men who are in our lives, I don't care how good he look. I don't care how much money he make. I don't even care how he makes you feel sexually. I don't care how big his thing is or whatever rocks your boat, whatever is good for you, make you feel good. If he's not speaking into your future, if he is not speaking to make you a better person, you need to cut him off.
Mm-hmm.
Because now in hindsight, I'm like, this man was speaking all up in my future, encouraging me to be this better woman that I am today. But I got my plan. This is what I'm doing, whatever. I wasn't trying to hear nothing. It was like, no, 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 no. And look at, it came to pass. So if your boo thing, I'm not saying your husband, if you married, you got a husband, you need to pray on it. I'm not telling you to divorce your husband because all these, sometimes we just got to pray for the men. So you go in your prayer closet, you handle your business, but you look at yourself first. Don't just say everything is your husband, because just like it takes two to tango, they say, it takes two when there's a situation. Somebody may have be the bigger problem, but both of y'all are the problem. Whether that's your response or whether it's your initiation or your response to the situation. But if you are dating someone, they are not encouraging you to do better, they're not encouraging you to be better, then you need to ask yourself, is this person really good for my future? Is this person really good for my soul? I would tell you, one time I was dating this other guy and I was talking to an older lady and she was like, the guy you dating now, if you married him and he never changed, would you accept him the way he is? Do you know I jumped out of my seat? I ran around the people's hotel screaming and crying.
Ooh.
That next day I broke up with the dude. I was like, wait a minute. I can't be with no deadbeat. Take the money out of my pocket. And we only been together.
Seriously.
We only been together for 2 months. I said, I broke up with him the next day.
Exit right to the left.
Come on now, because I needed to upgrade myself. Because when she said it, it hit something in my spirit. It's like, Fayola, wake up. And I'm going to tell the truth. I know this relationship was not good. This was like last year or the year before, about a year or two ago. I knew this relationship was not good. But I was like, well, maybe I'm putting my standards too high because I've been single for far too long and I'm trying to get married and have kids, whatever. I'm like, well, maybe, his life would change. Or maybe no. The same way I see him, and regardless if he has potential or not, if I married him today and he never changed, will I be okay with who he is? I say, hell to the no.
Man.
I don't know how we got here, but somebody needed to hear that.
Yes, definitely.
I'm dropping all the tea. Y'all ain't getting sips. Y'all done got 2 cups of tea already.
The whole gallon.
Come on now, for real. I'll make sure I send an invoice to each one of y'all listening. I'm joking. I have a sense of humor. Please don't take me seriously. I have a sense of humor. Please don't take me seriously.
It's okay. Well, Dr. Fayola, I really appreciate this conversation. I appreciate the knowledge you shared, the testimony you shared, the education, everything that about you. It's amazing. It's empowering. Keep going.
Thank you.
I love every moment of it. We definitely gonna have to keep in touch. I really appreciate you.
Of course. And I think you have an event coming up next year.
Yes, hopefully.
No, it will happen. Just keep me posted. I love to support anywhere I can.
Yes, definitely. I really love that.
Yeah. And I want to share this opportunity, as I'm so grateful for having the opportunity to share with you all and encourage you. It's one thing to be moved. It's one thing to be inspired. That's why I'm starting to shift away from motivational speaking to actually transformational speaking. Because I don't want you to just hear my story and my testimony. Oh, wow, that's cool. I'm encouraged. I'm inspired. But then after tonight or tomorrow, you go back to the same life. So I would like to share an opportunity with you. I just recently launched a group coaching program. It's called Winning in Life with Coach Fayola, and it'll be working with me. It's a group coaching program, so it's not one-to-one, but there's opportunities to do one-to-one coaching if you like. But with this group coaching program, it's only $25 a month. The first month is $50 because there's an administrative cost of $25, and then it's a $25 monthly fee. I will waive that $25 monthly fee, and all you have to do is pay the first payment will be only $25 instead of $50. And during this process, it's an opportunity, whatever area of your life you want to work on. If you want to work on your career, if you want to work on relationships, your finances, your spiritual life, your physical life, any area of your life that you want to work on, I come as a coach and consultant. I come as an educator, professionally trained educator, and a healthcare provider. And I'm also doing my life coaching certification as we speak. So that should hopefully be done sometime the first quarter of next year. But I wanted to share that opportunity with you all to take it to the next step. Let's win in 2020. We still have about 45 days, give or take, for 2020 still be the best year of your life.
Oh,
If I could
yes.
tell you what God has done for me, if I could test, this is nothing. I didn't even tell you what God did for me this year alone. I gave you the backstory. But if I gave you the current story, you wouldn't believe me because I can't even believe it myself. The only time that I know I'm in a pandemic is when I'm at work. But when I'm at home handling my business, I forget that there's a pandemic taking place. That's how God has been blessing me. And also, to be prepared for 2021. Don't wait until December 31st or January 1st to do your New Year's resolution. Start now having a game plan to know what is 2021 going to look like. What do you need to do to position yourself properly? So I wanted to share that opportunity. Once again, it's Winning in Life with Coach Fayola. It's a group coaching program. I'm waiving the administrative fee. So instead of paying $50 for the first month and $25 afterwards, because it's a monthly subscription, you will only be paying $25 a month each month. And so I hope you take advantage of that opportunity. You can go to coachfayola.com. That's COACH, F as in Frank, AYOLA.com. You gives you the information. We're going to do marketing opportunities, discount on event services, everything that I've been able to do and master. I'm going to share my trade secrets with you. I'm going to share my contacts with you. I'm an international award-winning speaker, international best-selling author ×2, #1 Amazon best-selling author ×2, international healthcare professional, international award-winning beauty queen. The list goes on and on. I've mastered success, and I want to share my success secrets with you. So I hope you all would take advantage of that opportunity.
Yes, y'all better. Shoot.
For real, period.
Yes. Because listen, who wouldn't want to be mentored by someone just so amazing? Especially your spirit is beautiful. It is so
Thank you for you
beautiful.
as well. I commend you for this platform. I know you have a whole variety of people that come on, and I think that is so important. When we allow various different types, because you don't know who your audience is. Especially
Yeah.
in this global world, you want to be able to reach everybody.
Yes. And that is my goal. That is definitely my goal.
I've been
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Life Her Podcast, where we help heal women all over the world. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, Life Her Podcast, and check out our YouTube page as well. And make sure you subscribe. You can also look onto our website and you can purchase merchandise and listen to the podcast episodes. I am Yvette Lloyd. I am Life Her. Love yourself, ladies. Take care of yourself and others you love dearly.